Tuesday morning. It's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum. For the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world. Of course, on this Tuesday, after the giant monsoon storm that rolled through the Phoenix area last night, well, of course, trees were down driving in. The computers aren't working right around here. Cameras are all frigiding out. Hey, but we're up and running here, and I show we're live as well. So hopefully everything's going well for you this morning. Give yourself a little extra time out there to deal with the issues that are out there. And, we'll get into the market watch, stocks we're paying attention to, local and national stories that you need to know as well. So come along with us, folks, as we get started with the market watch. And we're looking at it at the same time together today as we've been getting ready for this show. Everything is up today. Now, obviously, the Middle East is a big talking point here as well. We did get a light inflation data we'll talk about here in just a minute. But IBM has dropped. We have bank stocks reporting yesterday. Oil going up. We'll talk about that here in a little bit in a story as well. All that's happening, the war in the Middle East taking off again. Well, everything's up. Dow Jones up the 156 points right now to 52,622. The S&P 500, well, it's up 19 points right now to 7529. Nasdaq's up 97 points. A big gain is kind of in the S&P 500, as you saw. The IBM dropping. We'll talk to them and be a focus here coming up. The Nasdaq, though, is 103 points up. Tech stocks, nice rebound today. 25,976. The small cap index, 16 points up right now to 2965. And then there's Bitcoin rebounding today, 1,400 roughly points up, back into that 63,665 range for Bitcoin here on this Tuesday as well. And Bitcoin's just found its nice, simple home there at 63,000 is where it's been, in that area here for about a week now as well. First stock, we just talked about it a little bit. We're going to talk about IBM out here as our first stock. They're down 23.65%, folks. This is huge droppage for obviously a legacy company and one that's been on the market for a long, long time. Yeah, they're down huge. It posted weaker than expected preliminary quarter two earnings. IBM expects to report a profit of $2.93 per share. Analysts were expecting a profit of $3.01 per share for IBM. Huge number drop here. The market is not happy with IBM here today. And a legacy tech company, no less. You don't see them drop 23 points too often, if ever. IBM experiencing that today off of their quarter two earnings, preliminary quarter two earnings reporting. Now we'll look at a newer tech company out there in Apple as well. Apple, 0.96% down here. KeyBank actually came out and downgraded Apple to underweight. It was its sector weight before, and they valued that down. They also said their price target for Apple stock is $250. That's a downside of 21% from the close yesterday. And you see it's a big downgrade as well today as it's trading at $314. The the KeyBank there does expect the Apple stock could come under pressure, all because customers are tightening their wallets out there in response to the rising prices from Apple and these price increases. KeyBank not on board with these price increases from Apple. And the stock as a whole down 0.93% here today based off of that news as well. And then we're going to look at Citigroup. This bank, 1.39% up here so far today. It's interesting stock because in pre-market it was down. But they're up here 1.45%. They posted their best quarterly earnings revenue in a decade. Citigroup posted second quarter earnings of $3.15 per share. The expectation was only $2.74 per share. Revenue was $24.77 billion. Well, that exceeded the anticipated $23.74 billion. Citigroup, best quarterly revenue in a decade, and they're up 1.39% here today based off of that news. Other stocks we're going to look at when we come back and look at stocks in a little bit. More banking stocks, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. We're going to look at those three coming up here later in the show as well. But first, we got our inflation reading here earlier today from the government. And excuse me here for 1 second here, folks, while I work through something on my computer. I didn't make my teleprompter stuff big enough. You want behind the scenes? I didn't make my teleprompter visual stuff big enough so I could read it. So I have to fix that real quick. U.S. inflation cooled last month as the cost of gas, clothes, and used cars actually fell. So that's some relief for consumers out there, but it is showing price pressures also cooled down a lot more than what was expected to happen. Prices dropped 0.4% in June from the May number. That's the largest monthly drop in 4 years. We get all this reporting from the Labor Department. Now, on a yearly basis, inflation declined to 3.5%. That's down from a year over year gain of 4.2% in May. That's lower than many economists were expecting. But excluding the food and energy categories, which makes it core pricing, those core prices were unchanged in June. That's a positive sign that underlying inflation is cooling. And on a yearly basis, core prices rose just 2.6%. That's down from 2.9% the previous month. Core inflation does remain above the Fed's target of 2%, obviously, at that 2.6% there as well, but kind of relief last month in June. A wider range of prices cooled last month than economies had forecasted, specifically, specific categories did. For instance, electricity prices. They've been elevated by the demand from data centers, for instance. Well, they fell 1% from May to June, though they're still 4% higher than they were a year ago. Clothing prices, they dropped 0.6% from that same time period, May to June, but they're 3.9% more expensive than a year ago at that time. So we're seeing a little bit of a drop in June, but they're still way higher than a year ago. Groceries did rise another 0.2% in that May to June timeframe, and they're actually up 2.7% from last year. Well, apartment rental costs, they slowed down. They rose just 0.1%, so a little bit of a raise, but they're up 2.8% from a year ago. So rents also slowing down out there. So that reporting from the Labor Department out this morning showing some easing of the inflation in June. Positive news now. Problem is with the war and starting to escalate again out there. Yeah, oil prices, energy prices are starting to go up again here, and the price of crude oil on those global markets, as we like to say, well, they surging here this morning again. The international oil benchmark, which is that Brent, it rose for a second straight day to more than $87 per barrel. Yeah, this morning at $87. Yesterday it was trading low 70s. The first time since June that the Brent has traded at this price. U.S. crude oil also moved higher, rising 4% from Monday to more than $81 per barrel. And that was just Monday here. It's up again today as well, just a couple dollars here. Now, since the trading on Sunday night, the start of trading on Sunday night, Brent oil has risen more than 15%. U.S. crude oil, well, that's that West Texas Intermediate, that's risen more than 12% since Sunday night. Why? One of the reasons the hostilities has picked up. The blockade is happening again, but commercial shipping traffic in the strait continues to fall in response to these new fighting and secure passage issues for these vessels. For instance, we got this reporting in on Friday: 19 ships transit the Strait of Hormuz. It rose to 24 ships on Saturday. Well, by yesterday morning, Monday morning, there's now over half, just 10 vessels got through the Strait of Hormuz on Monday at that point. So we're seeing the constriction causing those oil prices on the global markets to go up again. We're in the low $80 range here as we're dealing with that. That's going to lead to that inflationary period again coming our way if that doesn't get stopped. Now, the blockade's in, all ships can go through except for Iranian ships. They are not, ships going to Iran are being blocked again by the U.S.'s blockade. So we'll see if ships continue to get through or if there's a more of a delay there because that's going to keep causing those oil prices to go up. Now we'll focus on a stock we haven't talked about in a couple weeks, but everybody's kind of eyes are on. And that'd be SpaceX stock out there. And SpaceX has taken another beating when trading resumed on Monday. We showed you last week, I believe it was, that it was trading just above, barely, at 150 range, which is what it was when it hit the stock market. Well, this is now an all-time low, just under $139 is what it was trading at yesterday. Obviously, well below its IPO opening price of 150. Now that's the market opening price. The price for the inside investors, the guys getting in on it early, was about 130, but it's over 38% down from its all-time high of $225. That was just 3 weeks ago. Well, this is obviously a big deal, and it's illustrating how rapidly the hype is kind of inverted to widespread skepticism over Elon Musk's vision here with SpaceX. So, blockbuster Wall Street debut 3 weeks ago. Then they've struggled to maintain any degree of momentum on the stock market. Investors, well, they continue to ask some very hard questions about the company. Things like its major pivot to orbital data centers and its near term profitability issues that it has. It doesn't make a profit at all. Despite being valued at almost $2 trillion as a company, they lost about $5 billion last year, in its overall books. Yeah, huge, huge loss. Now, interesting enough, could this just be competition causing this stock to go down? If you're over the weekend, you saw Chinese state run media showed a Long March 10B rocket booster. Well, it was caught by an offshore recovery platform. Well, that's showing that China, well, they're making major strides to catching up with SpaceX's reusable rocket technology. And then also over the weekend, an experimental Japanese reusable rocket safely took off and landed, which also suggests that Japan may be right behind China and the US for those reusable things. So, there's obviously some big international space launch competition coming in that's catching up to SpaceX, at least looks like it. Well, so is that kind of the reason why people are unoptimistic about the SpaceX stocks? Because we're seeing competitors getting involved with it? But maybe. But some experts believe SpaceX's transformation into an AI play, right? They got SpaceX, they got Gronk and their XAI, artificial intelligence in this company as well. So they're transforming SpaceX into that AI company. And they say that could be closely related to its Wall Street problems, more so than the rocket and the competition on that side. So, kind of displaying, I'll tell you, a lot of analysts are very bullish on the stock. But right now, at least after its debut, it's been backhill. I believe we have the SpaceX stock here. Let's take a look at it here today if we do have that available. Yep, there we go. So it's up to $142 per share. It's up 2.13% here today. So still below that 150 stock market price that it opened at. By it's $9 here today. So is this the point where you buy low, right, and wait for the uphill? I saw some analysts saying it's going to be over $800 by the end of next year in terms of its play. That's the question. Is it going to get caught up on the AI side of the market falling when everybody questions if AI's viability with the amount of money it costs? Or is the tech side where the reusable rockets and the space side going to keep it more afloat? We don't know. Something we'll have to keep an eye on SpaceX as well. And that Warner Brothers Discovery Skydance Paramount Skydance merger. Well, keeps hitting some rocky roads here, and now officially a coalition of a dozen states came out on Monday. They actually sued to block this Paramount Skydance acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery. So just another challenge to this $110 billion deal. Eh, is it going to make it through? It is the question, right? Obviously, this is going to unite two of the nation's largest media companies, attorneys generals from 12 states. I'll get to the states in a minute. Arizona is one of them, by the way. This 12 states is led by California Attorney General. His name's Rob Bonta. Well, the 12 states claim that the merger would harm competition in the movie industry and even result in lower pay and fewer job opportunities for industry professionals. The states also argue that the merger would hurt consumers because it'll drive up cable packages and movie ticket prices. They're going to offer fewer news and entertainment choices out there as well. So 12 states. Arizona's one of them. California, obviously, the other 10, Colorado, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, and Washington are all in on this lawsuit. So this lawsuit alleges the merger is illegal under that Clayton Act of 1914. And oh boy, don't get me started on that Clayton Act of 1914, folks. We all remember when that was passed. Basically, it prevents mergers that may undermine competition or create a monopoly out there as well. I don't know how you can say they're creating a monopoly when you got bigger companies than them out there. Obviously, there are two big ones merging. There's still some other big ones out there. Yeah. Obviously, Paramount Skydance vowed to fight the lawsuit. It's already got the DOJ approval, and now the states are getting involved trying to stop it as well. We'll see where it goes. I think eventually this merger will get through. I think they might have to make some concessions. But definitely, it's a long battle to get to that closing point coming up here as well, and everything. Are you part of this part of the country right now where, obviously food prices are up, everything prices up, you got to get back to school stuff and everything. So your budgets are getting hit pretty hard here, and almost 20% of adults have dipped into their savings to pay for groceries in the last year. We get this, the Urban Institute coming out with a new report, and this is the findings in it. It was released yesterday, and it's based on December 2025 data from the um, a think tank out there called Well-Being and Basic Needs Survey put together. They noted 19.6% of adults from ages 18 to 64 reported paying for groceries with savings not intended for daily expenses last year. So it's not a consistent thing. They just have to dip into it every once in a while to get food. The largest share of respondents, which was 63.2%, they said they used a credit card to pay for their groceries, again, to be able to get them. Slightly more than half of the credit card users paid the bill in full. More than 3 in 10 paid less than the full balance, but always made the minimum payment. Just under 14% of those who used a credit card did not always make the minimum payment, accounting for 8.7% of total respondents. That's up from 7.1% back in 2023 that responded in that same method. Meanwhile, nearly 10% of respondents use buy now, pay later options to pay for groceries. One third of those adults missed such a payment last year. And over the past 5 years, food costs have risen by roughly 32% over the last 5 years. Yeah. We know how much they've risen in the last couple years. We gave you that stat earlier in the show. But 32% over the past 5 years. Obviously, the cost of groceries are rising. They've been risen a lot there as well. But also, some of this could be because of the changes of that SNAP program, right? Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, I believe is what it stands for. That went into effect last year, all these changes. So, big upheaval for beneficiaries, causing people to have to dig into their own pockets that traditionally was on the SNAP program or got some benefits cut on that. So that could be leading to some of this number as well, as they've made people either losing SNAP or losing portions of their benefits out there as well. But more people, you moving into credit cards and savings in order to get food out there. When we come back here at McCollum on Business, we keep the show rolling here on this Tuesday. We got a couple local story for you. Katie Hobbs did something that I find interesting. Not good or bad, just probably good on the grand scheme of things. But these prediction markets out there, which I think are the dregs of society, but maybe you don't. Maybe you participate in the Kelshis or Poly markets. We'll talk about that. New York did something that, kind of Arizona kind of did. We'll talk about New York doing it as well. And then KFC and Pizza Hut doing some things you're going to want to pay attention to, folks, if you're liking some food out there. Come on back. It's McCollum on Business, Tuesday edition. here, McCollum on Business on this Tuesday. Appreciate you joining us. Don't forget, we are live at 7 a.m. Well, this week, Monday through Thursday, we got a couple more Fridays off for coming your way before we get back to our 5-day schedule here at the end of July. July 31st, we'll be going back to our 5-day schedule. But here we got Monday through Thursday this week, 7 a.m. live on YouTube. TME Media AZ is where you can find us. Of course, we're also on demand on YouTube. As soon as we get done, we get everything uploaded for you. Catch us on demand, share us with your friends as well. Of course, follow TME Media AZ on X as well. That's our parent company. Kind of tells you what we do around here and things that we're working on behind the scenes and about the shows. Of course, everything's also on demand, not just on YouTube, but over at Rumble. For those of you that don't like YouTube, prefer the Rumble platform, rumble.com/user/TME Media. When that pops up right above the videos that are uploaded every day, you see a channel button. Click on that. Go to the channel of the show that you'd like to see out there, including The Real Matrix, which was last week education episode is up for you, folks. And then, of course, this Friday, a new episode coming your way for The Real Matrix. Noon is when it comes out on Fridays. Comes out on a free podcast system as well. Just search The Real Matrix with Angry Fan. It'll pop right up for you. The numbers have been amazing on that podcast side. Angry Fan is super proud and happy to have you guys come along with his rants, is what he'll like to say a lot, and is just trying to set the facts for you, and you make your own decisions with The Real Matrix out there as well. Of course, everything, the main event, this show, McCollum on Business, the Pit Stop, all also available over there on the Rumble page as well. And then all available on YouTube. The only thing not is The Real Matrix. Well, some issues there with YouTube and that show. So everything but The Real Matrix is on YouTube. This show is live there, 7 a.m., 8 to 10 a.m. Well, the main event is live over on YouTube as well. So come and join us, share us with your friends, like and follow. Don't forget, free podcast systems for those of you that like to listen to the program as well. Instead of watching it, well, podcast for every show except for this one. Just search the show name and it pops right up for you out there as well. We're working on a website for TME Media AZ as well. That's what Ethan's been hard at work on here over the last 3 weeks or so. Hopefully we'll get at least a mock version of it up here in the next few days. We're kind of looking forward to doing that. So look for that coming your way here shortly as well. And folks, with all that being said, let's get right into the Market Watch. Everything is still in the green, even with oil prices being up so much as we had talked about. IBM's big drop here, 23% down, as we showed you in the first part of the show. Light inflation data, obviously helping the market. Dow Jones right now up 153 points. S&P 500's up 25 points. The NASDAQ, well, it's up 128 points right now as well. The Russell 2K, that small cap index, is up 18 points as we look at it here for the last time on this Tuesday. And then there's Bitcoin up 1,500 points today, up 63,837 for Bitcoin. Some positivity also here for that cryptocurrency as well. Right now, the Fed President, Kevin Warsh, he is promising inflation will be a thing of the past. He cites benefit of AI investment boom as he's meeting right now and having some conversation, testifying live at the House Finance Services Committee. So his words carry a lot of weight. See what that does with the market today as well. And, you know, he's testifying live saying inflation's going to be in the past. Well, the inflation data shows it was lower, but it's still elevated, obviously, as well. Jamie Dimon, who's the CEO of JP Morgan, he says AI has helped JP Morgan cut up to 40% of jobs in certain roles within his company. Yeah, consumer prices, I told you earlier, have rose a little bit as well, but not as much. Everything was cooled down on the market as well, that 0.4% for the month of June. So only 3.5% now for inflation. So we talked about that in the first half of the segment. So market doing well. Stocks we're paying attention to, though? Well, we'll look at some banks out there. Speaking of JP Morgan Chase, a lot of roles being removed there because of AI. 40% of certain roles, they said. Well, they're up 2.75% here today. Well, they posted quarter two results. They earned $6.14 per share. The revenue was $58.02 billion. Well, the market expected only $5.85 per share, so blew that number out of the market. The market only expected revenue of 50.19 billion, blew that out by $8 billion as well. But we don't know if the bank's profit was comparable to the consensus. A lot of numbers can be done within banking industries and things to that effect to make that number look good. But JP Morgan Chase is up 2.73% here today with their numbers. Bank of America is the next one we're going to look at, and they beat expectations last quarter, 1.93% up in their stock here today. The bank posted earnings of $1.21 per share. Well, the expectation was only $1.13 per share. Revenue was $31.7 billion. Well, that was higher than the $30.72 billion of the estimate amounts out there. So, banks pulling through with their reporting numbers so far. And let's check with one more. Wells Fargo is our next stock we're going to look at. Well, they're up 0.90% here today on the market. Even Wells Fargo posted earnings of $2 per share. The expectation was $1.72 per share. The revenue was $22.62 billion. Well, the expectation was only $21.84 billion for Wells Fargo as well. So banks coming in with positive numbers. Stocks showing the positive side of it as well out there. And look, if JP Morgan Chase's CEO is out there telling people 40% of job cuts, they've been able to get rid of up to 40% of certain categories. That's going to be AI is probably going to be like I'm going to call them secretaries. I know that's not what they're called anymore. Administrative roles probably reduced because of AI and things to that effect, but 40% of certain roles in their organization. That's big savings on the labor side, no doubt about that as well. Hey, now let's get into a local story here for you. And then we'll go to New York and see what New York's doing about data centers because we're seeing a trend across the country. Well, Governor Katie Hobbs here in Arizona did sign an executive order that is prohibiting Arizona State executive branch employees from using non public government information, and they're taking that information, they're putting it on the prediction markets, and then they're profiting off of that information. So now designating non public information as confidential for this purpose is what she's done. The order ensures state workers remain focused on serving Arizonans rather than their own personal enrichment out there. Katie Hobbs said, and I quote, Arizonans deserve a state government that works for them, not one where insiders exploit public service for their own gain. She went on to say, I'm proud to set clear, common sense ethical standards on prediction markets to hold our government accountable. Public service is a privilege, and we will not tolerate anybody abusing that privilege to line their own pockets. Unquote. Interesting because some people would say she's lined her pockets with that, the housing thing that she was into and refuses to still talk about, right? But those prediction markets, insider trading is happening a lot on those prediction markets. Recent media reports and federal indictments, they've revealed that government employees outside of Arizona have used non-public information to win millions of dollars wagering on government actions, including international military operations. Yeah, not in Arizona, other states, but you want to keep it from coming here, right? This executive order signed by Hobbs strictly forbids all executive branch employees from disclosing or even using any non public information to profit, avoid financial loss, or even assist others in profiting from prediction markets. So you can't even tell your buddy what's going to happen. Any violation of the order may result in dismissal, other sanctions, and even referral to law enforcement if you get caught doing that. To further safeguard the operations, the order officially designates all non public information obtained during public service that could be used for wagers as confidential. So now you're dealing with the confidentiality and levels of top secret, etc., that you'd be breaking. So also in that executive order, Hobbs also encourages other statewide elected officials, things like independent boards and commissions. She included in this even judicial and legislative branches she put in this deal. She wants them to adopt comparable policies for their employees from trading on the Kalshis and Poly market is what we are talking about. And this would be something like in a non-public meeting. And for instance, that let's say a large tech company is moving their headquarters to Arizona, and you know it's coming. You go to the prediction market, you put it in, make some money off it because you know it's going to happen, but nobody else does. It's happening out there, folks. That's why I stay away. A lot of reasons I stay away from the prediction markets, but that's one big reason right there as well because just shadiness happening there. Now we're going to go to New York, but it is interesting because we're seeing this trend across the country. Like Arizona, in the budget, just said there's a moratorium on free money or tax breaks given to data centers for 3 years. So you can still build a data center here. You're just not going to get the tax breaks. Well, New York is now blocking the construction of any new large data centers. They're doing that for up to a year. And that's also New York can create rules to protect the environment and the energy grid there in New York from, of course, those extremely power hungry facilities there of the data centers. Governor Kathy Hochul, is in a reelection bid out there, keep that in mind. She's set to sign the executive order this morning imposing the country's first statewide moratorium on hyperscale data centers. They're just straight out banning them for a whole year. The order will pause state permitting for new large data centers and direct state regulators to create standards that address environmental impacts, energy demand, water usage, and of course, all the major factors that go into data centers. Tech companies and other backers, well, they're not happy about it. And they've argued moves to block the construction of data centers hurt job growth for local communities and even say that you cede ground to China in a race to lead the rapidly growing AI industry. You don't really jobs. They don't. Not been too many jobs are in data centers. It's not a ton of people. Like a warehouse, an Amazon warehouse would give you more jobs than the actual data center will out there. So New York 1 year ban on new permits, and Arizona has a moratorium on free money given to them, but you can still build them here. And earlier this year, Maine seemed poised to establish a similar moratorium, but the measure was vetoed by the Democratic governor there in Maine because it would have blocked a proposed data center in a town that has struggled following the closure of a local mill. Moratoriums have been proposed in at least a dozen states. They haven't gotten anywhere in a lot of these states out there. Some counties and municipalities have had better success. They've imposed their own temporary bans of the data centers. So New York is the first one to put a whole year on the whole state here coming for those data centers, and you're going to see more of this trend toward against data centers for just what they bring, of course, to the system out there. Now let's get into a little bit of food talks out there. Yes, 3 year hiatus is over. KFC is bringing back one of its most popular menu items. Yeah, KFC is trying to get you back into those restaurants. They're trying to revamp its offerings out there. KFC has announced in a news release that beginning today, or yesterday, excuse me, Monday, thought it was today, Monday. My dates are all confused. They're going to begin serving its famous popcorn chicken. Now it's limited time while supplies last. Yeah, KFC's popcorn chicken initially debuted back in the 90s. And, you know, nobody could talk about it back then, but it was a huge hit. Now you got social media pushing it as well. It disappeared off the menu back in 2023. It has a cult following, especially in online circles out there, demanding its return. Well, KFC listened, and starting yesterday, popcorn chicken coming back. Supplies have to last limited time out there. Here's what KFC said about this. And I find it interesting. They're listening to their social media. They said, quote, for years, KFC has heard directly from fans clamoring for popcorn chicken's return. We read every comment, every DM, and even every online petition signature. And the message was impossible to ignore. As we continue our Kentucky Fried comeback journey, this menu item return shows our commitment to listening to our most passionate fans by giving them exactly what they're craving. Here's my question. Why limited time? Is it a limited time because they don't want to put it on the menu in case it fails? They can just disappear? Sounds good, though, folks. I'm going to try to hit up a KFC later on today for that popcorn chicken. Well, to help celebrate this popcorn chicken relaunch that happened yesterday, they teamed up with Giphy to develop several GIFs, some of which feature Colonel Sanders himself. So if you're a fan of the popcorn chicken, well, you can put it gifs on your social media feed when you talk about it as well, if you want to. Yeah. So three different ways you're able to get this. It's priced between $8.49 and $10.99 here. Popcorn chicken bucket. It's a 16-ounce shareable bucket of popcorn chicken served with four dipping sauces. $10 is what that's going to run you there, folks. Three sauces though. Popcorn chicken big box, a 6 ounce of popcorn chicken, two tenders, a medium order of fries, a medium drink, two dipping sauces, and for that you get a chocolate chunk cookie. That's 10.99 for that one as well. Oof, I screwed up my computer here for some reason, folks. Let me fix this. Popcorn chicken combo. I know a little behind the scenes there for you, but I was struggling there for a minute. The popcorn chicken combo is 6 ounce of popcorn chicken, medium order of fries, a medium drink, and one dipping sauce. $8.49 for you out there. It's here as of yesterday. Popcorn chicken fans from KFC, go get it. That sounds good, folks. Reasonably priced for chicken as well, as long as it's that old tender chicken they used to have out there as well. And you don't want chicken? Maybe you want some Pizza Hut stuff out there as well. Pizza Hut, well, it's limited time as well, but their Pizza Hut is going back, throwing it back, if you will, to simpler times. New value menu here for a Pizza Hut as well. So it's starting today for Pizza Hut. KFC was yesterday. Today, Pizza Hut. The throwback value menu. It's for a limited time. Participating restaurants nationwide. I feel like you always got to say that, right? The menu includes $10 medium one top topping stuffed crust pizza, a $3 one topping personal pan pizza, $4 breadsticks, $4 cinnamon sticks, and 2 liter bottle of Pepsi for $3. Remembers the time where you could going to Pizza Hut and buy stuff and have an affordable dinner as opposed to now, right? So also a debut of two items on the throwback menu. A $6 triple cheese mac and a $5 s'more sticks are available as well. So they've bringing it back with better pricing, throwing back the pricing as well. And then if you're interested, Pizza Hut is collaborating with Dinner Service NY, the New York streetwear brand, folks. They're going to transform iconic Pizza Hut uniforms, book it nostalgia, and fan favorite memories into a limited edition category collection as well. So the collection includes button-down shirts, camo jackets, t-shirts, sweaters, hats, so much more. It's available for purchase starting July 16th at noon, middle time there. Dinnerserviceny.com if you want Pizza Hut gear, folks. They should make a shirt. Actually, some of them are pretty iconic shirts from what I was seeing out there as well. So if you so noon Central Time on July 16th is the collection. The value menu deal is available today out there as well. But if you are a Hutch Rewards member, you get exclusive early access to the collection at 10 a.m. Central Time on the 16th. They're expecting these things to sell a lot. But more importantly, cheap Pizza Hut food. Nostalgia and cheap. Now all we need is Taco Bell to come back with a 59.79 99-cent menu for a limited time as well. Autumn says, I haven't had KFC in years, but I did love some popcorn chicken back in the day. Problem is KFC, I love KFC chicken. It's just so soft. And I'm not a breaded chicken fan at all. I'm not. But KFC's I love. Just go get their chicken breast meal. Oh my God, so amazing. The problem is they make it hard to shop there. For a while, I don't go there too often because they're not around a lot, right? They're coming back, but you go there and you pay by card. They would charge you a quarter to pay by a card and stuff like that. It was just they made it difficult. They made it difficult to shop at. So they solve those problems. You'll find me back at the KFC again. I like KFC better than Cane's, to be honest. All right, I just made everybody mad. I know. I'm sorry. Hey, when we come back, well, excuse me, tomorrow we'll come back. We'll look at what the market's doing, of course, stories we're paying attention to. So come and join us tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. If you're a Canes fan and I just said something and you're mad at me, I understand. Trust me, I understand. But come back and try us tomorrow, which is 7 a.m. The main event coming up next, live 8 to 10 a.m. here on YouTube. Come and join us. Join the chat on their YouTube as well. Or, of course, if you can't because your boss is a slave driver, or you're cleaning up from that storm last night, whichever you're doing this morning, be safe. But more importantly, catch us on demand later in the day also. We'll see you tomorrow, everyone. Have a great Tuesday afternoon. Column on Business. We'll be back tomorrow.